The moment success shows up, everyone notices. But what they don't see are the thousands of hours that came before that moment. Success leaves clues, but most of these clues aren't found on stage, in the spotlight, or during the standing ovation. They're found in empty gyms at 5 a.m., in quiet libraries when everyone else is asleep, and in consistent effort when there's no applause. That's what we're going to talk about today. You see, winners aren't made on game day. Champions aren't created in the championship match. They're forged in the quiet moments when no one's looking, when there's no external reward, when it's just you and your discipline facing off against your own excuses. I spent decades studying successful people, and I've noticed something remarkable about all of them. Their public victories were merely the visible results of their private commitments. That's just the receipt for the price they paid when no cameras were rolling. Listen carefully. What you do when no one is watching will determine what happens when everyone is watching. This isn't just some clever saying. This is the fundamental law of success that separates the amateurs from the professionals, the dreamers from the achievers. Let me tell you something that might change your life if you truly understand it. Opportunity is a fascinating thing. It knocks on the door of the prepared mind. But here's what most people miss. Opportunity doesn't care if you're ready. It shows up whether you've prepared or not. Opportunity is impartial. It visits the prepared and unprepared alike. But only the prepared can recognize it and seize it. That's why some people seem lucky while others constantly complain about missed chances. Same opportunities, different preparation. You know what fascinates me? We live in a time where everyone wants overnight success. They want the spotlight without the rehearsal. They want the harvest without planting any seeds. But that's not how success works. Not now, not ever. I remember talking to a young man who wanted to be successful. He asked me, Mr. Rohn, what's the fastest way to success? I told him the same way it's always been, the slow way. He seemed disappointed. He wanted a shortcut, a hack, a quick trick. But success doesn't respond to impatience. It responds to consistency. The problem with most people is they overestimate what they can accomplish in a year, but they drastically underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years of daily, consistent effort. 5 years of training when no one's watching will create results that everyone will talk about. Now let's talk about daily disciplines. These small, seemingly insignificant actions that, when performed consistently over time, create extraordinary results. I call these the fundamentals of success. Reading 10 pages of a good book every day might not seem impressive. But do you know what happens when you read 10 pages daily for a year? You'll have read approximately 3,650 pages. That's about 12, 15 books. In 5 years, over 60 books. The average American reads less than 1 book per year. Just this one small discipline puts you intellectually ahead of 99% of the population. Saving a small percentage of your income might not feel significant today, but compound interest is like magic for those who understand it and tragic for those who don't. A modest amount saved consistently over decades creates wealth that seems miraculous to those who don't understand the principle. Spending 30 minutes exercising every day might not transform your body in a week, but maintain that discipline for a year and your health will improve dramatically. Continue for a decade and you'll likely add quality years to your life while others are paying the price for neglect. Writing 1 page a day doesn't make you an author overnight, but after a year you'll have 365 pages, a completed book. Most people who want to write never start because they focus on the mountain instead of the step right in front of them. Making 5 sales calls daily might not change your career this week, but thousands of calls over years will build relationships, skills, and opportunities that the occasional, sporadic effort never will. These daily disciplines aren't glamorous. Nobody's going to applaud you for reading, saving, exercising, writing, or making those calls. These activities don't come with instant gratification, but they're the invisible foundation upon which all visible success is built. Let me share something profound with you. Success is not a single event. It's the accumulation of small, consistent actions performed over time. I call this the compound effect, and it's one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Think about water dripping on a stone. One drop does nothing visible. 1,000 drops, still nothing noticeable. But millions of drops over time, they carve canyons through solid rock. Your daily disciplines are those water drops. The tragedy is that most people quit before the compound effect kicks in. They plant seeds but dig them up every few weeks to see if they're growing. They start savings accounts but withdraw the money for unnecessary purchases. They begin exercise routines but abandon them before their bodies transform. The magic happens when you understand that insignificant, consistent actions performed faithfully over time create significant results. But you must be willing to work in silence for a while, trusting the process when there's no external evidence of progress. I've had people tell me, Jim, I've been doing these disciplines for 3 weeks and nothing's happening. I always smile and say, that's exactly how it works at the beginning. Success is like an iceberg. What people see is just the tip, but the massive foundation lies beneath the surface, invisible to most. Consider this. If you improve just one each day, after a year, you'll be 37 times better, not just 365 better, because of compounding. That's the power of small improvements stacked on top of each other day after day. The compound effect works in both directions. Small negative habits compound into disaster just as surely as positive ones compound into success. That extra dessert, that skipped workout, that unnecessary purchase, that wasted hour, none of them seem significant in isolation. But compounded over time, they create poverty, poor health, and unrealized potential. This is why what you do in private, when no one's watching, is so critical. These small choices aren't just about accomplishing tasks. They're about building character. Character isn't created in the spotlight. It's forged in darkness, in struggle, in choosing the harder right over the easier wrong when no one would know the difference. Character is choosing to do the right thing even when there's no immediate reward or I want you to understand something important. Your character, what you really are on the inside, will eventually express itself on the outside. You can fool others temporarily, but you cannot fool your future. Your future is being created by what you do today, especially what you do when no one's watching. Many people try to build a reputation instead of character, but reputation is what people think you are. Character is what you actually are. And in the long run, what you are will always overshadow what people think you are. The person who cheats on their diet when no one's looking is really cheating themselves. The employee who cuts corners when the boss is away isn't harming the company as much as they're harming their own character. The student who plagiarizes isn't primarily cheating the teacher, but rather their own education is something powerful to consider. The private victories always precede the public victories. You won't have public success without first having private success. The victory on stage is merely the recognition of the victory that happened during practice. Now, I know what you're thinking. This path of consistent private discipline is hard. And yes, it is. That's precisely why so few people follow it. Most people are constantly looking for shortcuts. They want the result without the process. They want the destination without the journey. They want the trophy without the training. But life doesn't work that way. There are no elevators to success. You have to take the stairs. The temptation to take shortcuts will always be there. When you see others getting ahead through dishonesty, cutting corners, or luck, you might think, why am I putting myself through all this discipline and hard work? I'll tell you why. Because shortcuts create short success, temporary gains. But the foundation is weak, and eventually it crumbles. I've seen it countless times. The overnight success who couldn't sustain it, the business that grew too fast without proper systems, the wealth acquired without financial wisdom that vanished just as quickly as it came. True success isn't just about achieving something. It's about becoming someone. And becoming requires time, consistency, and patience, qualities that shortcut seekers rarely develop. Let me share a secret with you. The process of success is as valuable as the achievement itself. The person you become on the journey is your greatest reward. The skills, wisdom, resilience, and character you develop while training when no one's watching. These are treasures that cannot be taken from you. So how do we maintain this private discipline? How do we train consistently when no one's watching and immediate rewards aren't present? We need systems that support our commitment. Success isn't just about motivation. It's about designing environments and routines that make your desired behaviors easier. Successful people don't just rely on willpower. They create systems that reduce the need for willpower. Want to read more? Keep books where you can see them. Want to exercise regularly? Put your workout clothes next to your bed. Want to save money? Set up automatic transfers to your savings account. Want to make those sales calls? Block time on your calendar and eliminate distractions during that period. Your environment often shapes your behavior more than your intentions do. That's why winners create environments that support their training when no one's watching. Another powerful system is accountability. Even when no one else is watching, you can create mechanisms to hold yourself accountable. Track your key metrics. Keep a journal. Use apps that monitor your progress. Create a scoreboard for your private victories. What gets measured tends to improve. The simple act of tracking your daily disciplines can significantly increase your consistency. When you can see your progress or lack thereof in black and white, it becomes much harder to lie to yourself about your commitment. Also, consider creating stakes for yourself. What happens if you miss your training? What happens if you hit your targets? Having clear consequences and rewards can maintain momentum when motivation fades. Remember, discipline is remembering what you want. Systems help you remember and make it easier to act accordingly. Let me share some stories of remarkable people who understood the principle of training when no one's watching. Thomas Edison conducted over 1,000 unsuccessful experiments before inventing the practical light bulb. When a reporter asked how it felt to fail 1,000 times, Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." Those 1,000 experiments happened in relative obscurity. The world only celebrated the final result. Abraham Lincoln lost numerous elections before becoming one of America's greatest presidents. During those failure years, he was developing the wisdom, resilience, and character that would later save a nation. His private study of law and philosophy, his wrestling with moral questions, his development as a thinker and communicator all happened largely out of public view. Beethoven continued composing magnificent music even after becoming deaf. His commitment to his craft wasn't dependent on external validation or even the ability to hear his own work. His training continued when no one, not even he, could hear the results. Michael Jordan was famously cut from his high school basketball team. Rather than quitting, he used that rejection as fuel, practicing relentlessly when no one was watching. His trainer reported that Jordan's private workouts were more intense than most players' championship games. J.K. Rowling was a struggling single mother writing in cafes. When she created Harry Potter, no one was watching, no one was cheering her on, and no one knew that literary history was being made in those quiet moments of persistent creativity. What do all these stories have in common? These individuals didn't wait for an audience to start performing. They didn't need external validation to commit to excellence. They understood that greatness is forged in private before it's recognized in public. Now let's talk about the mindset of champions during training. What's happening in their heads when no one's watching? First, they train with purpose. They're not just going through motions. They understand exactly why each repetition matters. They connect today's invisible work with tomorrow's visible results. They see the relationship between cause and effect clearly. Second, they compete against themselves, not others. They're focused on being better today than they were yesterday. This internal standard of excellence drives them regardless of external competition. Third, they embrace discomfort as the pathway to growth. They understand that staying in the comfort zone creates average results. The magic happens when you push beyond what feels comfortable or easy. Fourth, they practice as they intend to perform. They don't save their best effort for game day. They bring that same intensity to practice. They understand that you will perform as you practice, so they practice with excellence. Fifth, they focus on process over outcomes. While they have clear goals, their daily attention is on executing the process with excellence, knowing that proper process consistently applied will eventually produce the desired outcomes. Sixth, they maintain enthusiasm even in mundane tasks. They find joy in mastery in the subtle improvements that others might overlook. They celebrate small wins that no one else might notice. Seventh, they visualize success while taking action. Their imagination fuels their effort, but they never substitute dreaming for doing. It's always, boss, inspired vision coupled with perspiration. Let me give you some practical steps to develop this kind of personal accountability and training discipline when no one's watching. First, clarify your why. Superficial motivation fades quickly. Dig deeper. Why do you really want success in this area? Connect your daily disciplines to your deepest values and most meaningful goals. When your why is strong enough, the how becomes easier. Second, start ridiculously small. Don't try to transform everything at once. Begin with tiny habits that you can maintain consistently. Success isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. 5 minutes of daily training that you actually do is infinitely better than an hour-long session that you skip. Third, focus on identity, not just actions. Instead of saying, I need to exercise, say, I am becoming a person who prioritizes health. This subtle shift changes your relationship with the activity from something you do to something that reflects who you are becoming. 4, create unmissable triggers for your training. Link your new habits to existing routines. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will read for 10 minutes, or before checking email, I will make 3 sales calls. These implementation intentions dramatically increase follow-through. 5th, eliminate friction for your key disciplines. Make the right actions easier and the wrong actions harder. Want to waste less time on social media? Delete the apps from your phone? Want to exercise in the morning? Sleep in your workout clothes. Small environmental adjustments can have huge behavioral impacts. 6, track your consistency, not just your results. Create a simple system to monitor your adherence to the process. Focus on building streaks of consistent action. The results will follow naturally from process consistency. 7th, plan for failure and recovery. You will miss sessions. You will have bad days. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't that the successful never fail. It's that they have a plan to get back on track immediately after a miss. 8th, celebrate progress, not just achievement. Don't wait until you reach your final goal to acknowledge your growth. Regular recognition of small improvements sustains motivation during the long journey. Now, let's connect these private disciplines directly to your public results, because make no mistake, what you do in private absolutely determines what happens in public. The salesperson who makes those extra calls when no one's watching eventually leads the sales board when everyone's watching. The student who studies diligently when friends are partying eventually receives honors when the grades are announced. The entrepreneur who obsesses over product quality when the company is unknown eventually earns market leadership when the brand becomes visible. There's a beautiful justice to this principle. Life eventually rewards private excellence with public recognition. Not always immediately and not always in the ways we expect, but the connection is undeniable and inevitable. I've never met a truly successful person who didn't understand this connection. They all knew that the spotlight doesn't create excellence. It merely reveals what was created in the shadows. Think about it this way. Public moments are tests, but private moments are preparation. And no one consistently passes tests they haven't prepared for. Every public moment, whether it's a presentation, competition, interview, or performance, is simply revealing the level of preparation that preceded it. The nervous presenter who stumbles through slides isn't failing in that moment. They failed in the preceding weeks when they didn't rehearse thoroughly. The athlete who chokes under pressure isn't failing in the game. They failed in practice by not creating similar pressure situations. Your public performance is merely a receipt for your private preparation, and you always get a receipt. Let me share something powerful with you. There's an old saying that character is what you do when no one is looking. I'd like to add to that. Success is what you earn when no one is looking. The connection between private discipline and public reward is as certain as the connection between planting and harvesting. Many people want the harvest without the planting. They want the promotion without the preparation. They want the medal without the training. But that's not how life works. The universe keeps perfect accounting records. It knows exactly what you've invested in private, and it pays dividends accordingly in public. I've studied successful people for decades, and I have noticed something remarkable. Those who achieve lasting success rarely seem surprised by it. While others might call them lucky, they know the truth. Their luck was earned through thousands of hours of preparation that nobody witnessed. Consider this when we see a magnificent oak tree standing tall and strong. What we don't see are the years it spent developing its root system underground. Those invisible roots growing in darkness are what enable the visible tree to withstand storms and reach impressive heights. Your private disciplines are your root system. The stronger and deeper your roots, the taller and more resilient your visible success can become. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to crumble under pressure while others rise to the occasion? The difference isn't what happens in the pressure moment. The difference was established long before, during all those private training sessions when no one was watching. The presenter who appears confident and knowledgeable didn't become that way on stage. They became that way during countless hours of study and practice when no audience was present. The leader who makes wise decisions in a crisis developed that wisdom through years of private reflection and learning from smaller challenges. I want you to understand something crucial. There are no overnight successes. What appears to be sudden good fortune is almost always the result of prolonged, consistent private effort that finally reached its visible tipping point. And here's another truth. You cannot fake preparation. You might fool others temporarily, but reality always reveals the truth eventually. The market is brutally honest. Customers know value when they see it. Audiences sense authenticity. Teams recognize genuine leadership. Your public results will always reflect your private commitments. There is no escaping this law of life. Your actions in private write checks that your public performance must cash. Make sure you're making sufficient deposits. So here we are. You now understand one of the most fundamental principles of success. Winners train when no one's watching. The question is, will you join the masses who know what to do, but don't do what they know? Or will you be among the few who translate understanding into action, who convert knowledge into results? Starting today, I challenge you to identify one critical area where private victory precedes public success in your life. What's the one discipline that, if practiced consistently when no one's watching, would transform your results when everyone is watching? Is it waking up earlier to plan your day? Is it making those extra sales calls? Is it spending focused time with loved ones without digital distractions? Is it practicing your craft with deliberate attention to improvement? Is it reading to expand your mind and possibilities? Whatever it is, commit to 30 days of consistent private discipline in that area. Not for external recognition, but for the internal satisfaction of knowing you're laying the foundation for future success. 30 days of training when no one's watching. Keep track of your consistency. Notice how it feels to honor commitments to yourself, not just to others. Pay attention to the subtle shifts in your confidence, competence, and character as you build this private discipline. After 30 days, select another area and repeat the process. Gradually, systematically, you'll begin creating a life of integrated excellence, where who you are in private aligns perfectly with who you appear to be in public. Remember, life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real performance. Each day, you're writing your legacy through your choices, especially the choices you make when no one else would know the difference. The beauty of this principle is that it applies universally to career, relationships, health, finances, spiritual growth, and every other dimension of life. Private disciplines in each area create public results in each area. You know what's fascinating? All around us, we can see examples of people who tried to build success without this foundation of private discipline. The celebrity who rises quickly and falls just as fast. The business that grows too rapidly without proper systems and collapses under its own weight. The relationship that looks perfect on social media but crumbles because the real work wasn't done behind closed doors. Don't let that be your story. Choose the harder path of private excellence that leads to lasting public results. Let me tell you something important. The satisfaction of earned success is unlike anything else in life. When you know that your achievements came through honest effort and consistent discipline, you'll possess a quiet confidence that no external validation can provide. You'll sleep well at night. You'll stand firm when challenges come. You'll have the inner strength that only comes from knowing you've paid the full price for your success. This principle of training when no one's watching requires 3 things most people aren't willing to give: time, patience, and faith. You need time because real growth can't be rushed. You need patience because visible results always lag behind invisible effort. And you need faith because for a while, you'll be working without external evidence that your efforts are making a difference. Most people abandon the process too soon. They start with enthusiasm but quit when results don't appear quickly enough. They fail to understand that success is like a bamboo tree. You can water and nurture the bamboo for what seems like forever with no visible results. For years, all the growth happens underground, invisible to the eye. Then suddenly, the bamboo shoots up 90 feet in just 60 days. But that rapid growth couldn't happen without the years of invisible root development. Your success follows the same pattern. The question is, do you have the patience to water the soil daily even when you see no sprouts? Do you have the faith to continue training when no one's watching and no obvious progress is apparent? I'll leave you with this thought. The world's full of people seeking recognition without earning it, pursuing acclaim without developing excellence, and wanting the trophy without enduring the training. Don't be one of them. Be the rare person who understands that lasting success works from the inside out, never from the outside in. Train when no one's watching. Develop excellence before seeking exposure. Build capacity before pursuing opportunity. Become valuable before attempting to be visible. Do this consistently, and a time will come when the world will wonder how you got so lucky. But you'll know the truth. There was no luck. There was only preparation meeting opportunity. There was only the compound effect of small disciplines performed faithfully over time. There was only the private victory that preceded the public victory. And in that knowledge and that earned success, you'll find a satisfaction that no shortcut could ever provide, because you'll know you built it the right way, through consistent training when no one was watching. The question isn't whether this principle works. The question is, will you work the principle starting today, right now? When the motivation from these words is still fresh, will you commit to excellence in private that will eventually express itself in public? I believe you will. I believe you can. And years from now, when others marvel at your overnight success, you'll smile, knowing that what they're really seeing is the natural harvest from seeds planted and nurtured when no one was watching. What you do consistently in private ultimately becomes visible for all to see. Make it count. Make it excellent. Make it worthy of the person you're capable of becoming. Train hard when no one's watching. The world will benefit from the results, but more importantly, you'll become someone who knows the true source of achievement. Discipline, consistency, and integrity in the quiet moments that shape your destiny.